Hello folks, welcome to draw 6 of the 2024 BrokerLink Mixed Doubles Provincial Championships. We're coming to you live from the Gage Golf and Curling Association. Thanks for hanging with us today. We had a little start issue with a power outage last night. We had a little bit of our first storm of the season, so a little power outage here that lasted about 7 hours or so, I guess. So some draws are taking place at the Capital Winter Club. Thanks to them for stepping up and getting a draw out there for us. They started at 2 p.m. This is our 3 p.m. draw, which was originally scheduled for noon, but it's been moved to 3 o'clock just to we're playing catch up here for the rest of the day. But anyway, thanks for hanging in with us. So we're our feature game today, Abernathy McNamara versus Barkley Hansen from the Gage. Abernathy McNamara. From the Capital Winter Club. We got Ben and Taryn and Michelle and Trevor. So right off the bat, early action. Trevor Hansen, Michelle Barkley throwing blue rocks in good shape at the moment, already lying 3. One a little bit open, little path there on both sides at the moment to freeze in there for Abernathy McNamara. So Trevor's choosing to block off the intern side here. This is our same sheet as our feature sheet yesterday, and we saw a lot of curl on this side yesterday. So doesn't seem to be any lingering ice issues for our sheet today. Yes, just after the power outage, you're always a little worried about maybe conditions getting a little softer. The ice plant's obviously off during all those scenarios. So so far so good. Watching the last shot draws, and they were pretty normal speed. Actually, they're sliding quite a bit. So the ice makers did a great job getting this surface back to competitive levels. So a little overcurl on the draw. That might have been the call, actually, just to block off that hole, but it does give Ben a chance to freeze in on the intern side to those ones at the back of the button. A little heavy on this path. First end, you're still getting used to it. The only knowledge you do have is from the last shot draw for Hammer in the pre-event practice. So probably a little bit of changes throughout the game. You always assume that might be in a different spot. You might not have played it in the practice, especially going away in the first end. A little heavy there. Does give Michelle a chance to block off this side on the intern. Great shot by Michelle, really applying pressure here. Trevor Hansen, Michelle Barkley in the first end, plugging up the middle quite drastically. The angles up front just don't look very appealing for Abernathy and McNamara. Lots of trouble with the angles. I think they only have this when they're lining up now. Unfortunately, looks to be all they have. Almost doesn't matter. It's a little pocket there for them, so anything flying in towards the forefoot will be in good shape for them. There is quite a big area to aim at here, so something high side, half rock, maybe even yeah, about half a rock is actually coming right in there, and you might be able to bounce off some of those blues and get in a good position. Big shot already in our first end here. touching it early. A little too thin. So, unfortunately, it does actually open up this draw for Trevor as well. So, looks like it was a draw for 5 in our first end here, right off the bat. Long guard, lots of room here. He can have backing on his own as well. So, the guard isn't really in play on this shot. It's just trying to get in probably full 12 foot for the 5. No mistake by Trevor. Obviously remembered what it was like throwing that last shot draw in the first the pre-event practice. Made no mistake. Used the backing slightly, but didn't need it. Draw for 5 in the first end. Big end for Barkley Hansen in the first, right off the bat. As you can tell, we do have a little bit of a crowd here this morning. Really excited about the 5-ender for Barkley Hansen. As they set up the rocks for the next end, we're just going to have a moment for our sponsor. All right, back to our feature game. Trevor's going to start off the end throwing shots 1 and 5. Going to try to play that draw weight just again right down to the face of the Abernathy McNamara shot. After scoring 5, I don't know if that's going to change their strategy. They're probably going to just stay on the aggressive side here. Probably just make sure nothing's short. Try to get in there, top 4, top button. Over curled there a little bit, allows Abernathy McNamara to freeze on that, set something up. Probably stay on the buried side here as much as they can. Plenty of time left. Giving up 5, giving up a big score in the first end, even in the 4-person game, is almost you'd take it every time, but it's hard to manage. You're going to be on the defensive mindset the rest of the game, but at the same rate, he kind of changes your initial strategy going into the game, so sometimes you don't know how to handle it. It's kind of a little bit of a balancing act, so we're going to have to watch and see how Barkley Hansen handle it. If they stay on the aggressive side or switch gears and play a little more defensive, which is hard in mixed doubles. Probably the best defense is a good offense. Couple of good placed rocks here by Abernathy McNamara. Just, you don't need to all back in one end. You just need to pick away at it here. Got a nice score 2 or 3. You still have some power plays to use later in the game. Plenty of time left. Good shot there by Ben. Shell will be looking to just follow that one down. It's all a little cat and mouse game here, trying to get on top. Set up the angles, stay on top of the opponent's rocks. Obviously, Trevor and Michelle did a good job on that in the first end. Kind of off and on, looks to be lots of line, well past the guard at this point. Trying to get it to curl. Probably got a little wider in a different path there. We're a little fooled with the weight. Ended up fairly light there. Top 8 gives Abernathy and McNamara a chance to come around with the other turn, get in that pocket as well. Maybe set up a similar end as Barkley Hansen did in the first. Off and on, line looks good. Over curled a little bit. It does leave great weight. This lost line a little bit does give Trevor and Michelle a chance to get in on top of that. Just take those red ones right out of play. Big shot here though. You don't want to have Ben and Taryn giving them another chance to get another red one in there. Off and on. Michelle seems to like the speed and the line at this point. No mistake. Lays one right on the top of the button. That's going to be there for a little while. You can see how important that last one was for Ben and Taryn there. Just over curled. Great weight. Just over curled the spot and allowed Trevor and Michelle to get one to a place that's basically unremovable for the foreseeable future. So at this point, you just got to keep jiggling around. You're going to need a mistake, but you're going to keep jiggling around, create a little path for that blue one to exit the forefoot. Right now, red ones are helping, the red rocks, as you can see, is helping that one top blue. Not going anywhere for a little while, so you want to create a little bit of an opening, a hole. So you want to move this situation for sure. Still talking about it, but really, I think you just got to follow that down, jiggle things around, try to stay on top as much as you can. Maybe roll a little bit off nose just to kind of create an angle, like I said, but you gotta do something with that blue rock top button. Going with the tap, it does kind of fortunately, a little bit of a tumble there. My Michelle trying to catch the rock a little bit. I think everything's all right. I guess he was trying to just run things in on that angle just to kind of get things moving as well. That was probably always going to be there. I think tapping those forefoot situation probably was good in that moment, but moving that one top button was the important part of either shot. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to cause any damage in the forefoot. So it does give Michelle and Trevor just the same opportunity. She has the same exact shot to lay one right on top of the forefoot. The angles are still good for Hansen Barkley at this point. So just lay one right on top of your own. Just add another obstacle for Abernathy and McNamara to navigate to get to the button. Not much room in there. Both sweepers on it, just trying to keep it straight. Overcurled a little bit, but still pretty good shot for Michelle and Trevor. I think there was a little touch there, or they're just arm wrestling with each other, trying to figure out where to put that back. Oh, trying to stop the clock. A technical timeout. Our head official here this morning is, or this afternoon, sorry, is Bobby Billard. This rock must have been just touched right at the impact there. I don't think there was much change to the situation either way. Just trying to stop the clock here. Usually these kind of situations are solved by the players themselves. The official probably didn't see what happened, so this shouldn't be much of an issue. Just trying to figure out what changed and when it changed. I think we've come to some sort of conclusion here. These sort of scenarios are always kind of reverts back to the choice of the non-offending team. The touch did occur after the hog line, so after the hog line you do, I don't know if mixed doubles is any different, but it does, the non-offending team can kind of put it where they think everything would have ended up. I believe if the option hasn't changed, it's still even there to remove it completely, but I think just in the spirit of the rule itself, that the touch probably just happened right at the very end there. So no harm done. Things were pre-placed a little bit. I think we just moved it about an inch there towards the button at the end there. Nothing changed drastically. Big trouble here still for Abernathy and McNamara. Just needs a couple shots actually to get access to that button, and they only have that many left. So, and you do have the trouble of the center guard up front still. That doesn't allow you to kind of blast things out of there, at least open up some scoring area for one. Know what they've kind of settled on here. Looks to be they're definitely going the outturn side. Maybe hopefully jiggle something around here just to get things moving. Somehow you need access to the button there to score a point here. You can't allow any more points in the scoreboard in this end for Barkley and Hansen. Just not much. Hit about an inch of both rocks and kind of spun it to the edge of the 8-foot there. Not much change to the situation. That blue is still going to be tough to remove, if at all. You need to stick a dynamite at this point. Drop it right on the pin. Michelle and Trevor just trying to figure out what they do have for a single point here. I think they're pretty happy with the situation on the outturn side. I think if Abernathy and McNamara were able to hit as much of that top blue one as they could, they might get lucky with some spins. I know that the red one on the back button isn't going anywhere either, so I think they're just worried that if they can see some of that blue with some big weight, they might be able to spring something loose there. But so I think they're pretty happy with the situation on the outturn side, which is they've been playing the entire end. So just throwing up a guard. Happy with the single point here. This is the same shot Trevor threw on his first one of the end, so he should have a pretty good idea what this one does, what the line is, what the weight is. It doesn't look like he's made any mistake here, just kind of dusting it over. So that option for Abernathy McNamara gone at this point, so they're kind of stuck with looking what they can do with the outturn side of things. They you got to be careful to not do too much. They could spring those red ones out as well and give them more than one here, so I think they're just throwing it away. So it looks one Ben's tapping, one blue, Barkley Hansen. So while they set up rocks for the next end, we're just going to have a word from our title sponsor of this event, Broker. Yeah, so back to our feature game. Good decision here by Abernathy McNamara. They do retain hammer by virtue of giving up a steal there in the last end. It is a little bit of a consolation prize that you get to keep hammer, but they've employed the power play in this end. I like this call. The power play is employed. So it looks at Barkley Hansen. It'll be interesting to see how they defend this. They're having a little discussion. Some teams will just simply draw to the forefoot. In mixed doubles, you cannot hit any rock in play at all, regardless of free guard zone, until after the fifth rock of the end. So they could simply draw a play away from that corner guard and just throw one in the forefoot. Sometimes you do see teams, for defensive purposes, just play a little tick shot and tap that blue rock towards the middle of the sheet. Can't remove it from play, but you can move it towards the middle of the sheet. Open up that one on the tee line at this point. But so it'll be interesting to see what they do. A couple different theories here. I don't profess to be a mixed doubles expert. I've played 3 total games of mixed doubles in my life, so kind of interesting. These power plays do kind of create some interesting scenarios, just simply given the fact that you're not allowed to remove any of these rocks until after the 5th rock of the end, so, or until you see visibly 5 rocks at the other end. So Trevor and Michelle have decided to draw simply to the forefoot. Abernathy McNamara cannot remove this from play. I don't think they would anyway, given the fact that they're down 6-0. The more rocks in play, the better. So you could either split the rings here as well. Once again, Trevor can't hit this rock if you put it in play, or you might see them draw around the corner guard as well. So it's always interesting scenarios. Power plays are kind of fun. I think they've decided to come around the corner guard. Line looks great here. Weight looks great. Just got to get it in the rings. Great shot by Ben on that one. Trevor seems to think you can see a good chunk of those red rocks, so you don't need to remove both rocks at this point. You're just trying to remove anything red. You are up 6-0 at this point, so actually I don't think he can't be hitting this anyway at this point. I apologize. My own explanation kind of went by the wayside, so he's probably just trying to move these things around or move the guard. Great shot by Michelle there. Opens up the red rocks, moves play back to the middle. A couple options here for Ben and Taryn. They could guard that situation. They could guard those reds. They could also freeze. They could also come around the blue rock as well. It is a fairly simple double on those reds right now, but they're just going to continue to build something around guards, just get anything buried at this point. Little over curl there by Ben. The weight looked great, but line was not helpful. So it gives Michelle a chance to make this double. I think regardless if they make this double or not, you'll still see Ben and Taryn come around that guard. Just take a little more ice. Maybe he got a little tight on the throw there, and they'll just make the adjustment and get around. His weight was perfect, just needed more line. But once again, for Trevor and Michelle, just simply trying to eliminate red rocks at this point. Oh, big miss there. Didn't remove any of the red rocks, so it does allow Ben and Taryn to get another one in there. It's they're only lying maybe, what are they? Ben and Taryn are lying second and fourth shot, so eventually to bring that biter back into play, you're going to have to deal with the blue rocks, but I don't think they're concerned about that right now. Just going to keep piling them in there if they can. Ben's throwing this one again. Like I said, he had great weight on his first one, just needs a little more ice, maybe throw a little bit straighter. This one is hanging. Maybe the adjustment was done too effectively. Can freeze on the back one though, and it's just as good. You want to remove that blue anyway. Great shot. So great shot by Ben there. That effectively eliminates the blue one back four. So Trevor's going to have to be careful, and going to have to, I think sometimes the best way to get out of trouble is to hit and stay. And so I think they're going to be looking to hit and roll towards the middle on this one. Not really concerned with the outside red at this point as long as you stay around, because you will be lying second, third, and fourth. So that one at the top 12 is helping Trevor and Michelle at this point. So hit and stay, roll the middle. Trying to get it to curl. Worked out really well. Hit it a little thinner than they wanted to, but it did remove the backing for Ben and Taryn. I think they would have rather kept that blue one right behind the red, but it does open up a path to remove that red. So great shot. I think you'll just see a draw, maybe what they call a Christmas tree around that red rock. Just get one top four, half buried, three quarters buried, top eight, top four. Just want to be second shot here. Still some reason to be careful here for Barkley Hansen. There's a few red ones building up there. That one on the side's looking a little more promising every moment here. It's not curling for them. There you go. Great shot. Great shot. Unable to probably be a tough hack weight shot to get rid of either one of them, and you still got to watch out for the jam on the back one, which is just out of the ring. So Trevor's looking to draw here, maybe shrink the rings for them. A good end here for Abernathy McNamara, using the power play to their advantage. A little bit of a miss on Michelle's hit on the wings, just kind of gave them another chance to get a second one in there. So definitely something building here for Abernathy McNamara, that's for sure. Yeah, if you're watching this live there on YouTube, just chime in and tell us where you're watching from. We're a little late on our draws today, so we got a little bit off schedule a little bit. So we're going to be back with 2 more draws here later today. My good friend Chris Jenkins will be joining on the chat and doing some games here throughout the weekend as well. So we're going to be with you for the rest of the event. So chime in, tell us where you're watching from, and we'll send you a little note back. you have any comments, questions, you want to do some trivia, we can do that too. So the draw is off for Trevor and Michelle here. Trying to get to the button here. It looks a little steamy right now, a little heavy. Just tapped it, rolled off a little bit. It does give Ben and Taryn a chance to make a nose hit here. Oh. Over curled, chance for 3 there for Abernathy and McNamara. Just over curled on the hit. Ended up another steal of 1 for Barkley and Hansen. Unfortunately, had a great chance there to get back right back in this ball game, cutting the lead in half, but unable to figure out that spot, and it just over curled on them. So we're going to have a little meeting, talk about it. They did, I think they have some positives to be coming out of that end. They did have some chances. So we're going to update the score. I have a little word from our title sponsor, and we'll be back with you in a few seconds. Hey folks, as you can see, this is our view of all 4 sheets here at the gauge. Basically, as you're looking at the screen, sheets 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 sheets of action here today. After the 4th end break, I'll give you some updates on the scores across the arena here. It looks like everybody's playing their 4th end at this time. Our game seems to be the slowest one that's currently on the ice, so we'll be able to give you a full 4th end updates after the completion of our end here on our feature game. It's not unusual for Trevor Hansen to be the last one to finish in the 4th end, so being a fellow Gauge member, I've played lots of games against Trevor, and it's always interesting, methodical, and we always have lots of fun out there. So we'll get back to our feature game. So here we are, similar setup. Trevor was able to put it top 4 to start the end. Definitely a good spot to be. Gives Abernathy and McNamara just another obstacle to draw around. So there is a chance to get in this one half around the blue top button. Good shot, got buried, top 4, something to use later. You'll just see some little tap here maybe by Michelle, just trying to keep the pressure on. Michelle and Trevor have just been able to get in there early and often into that 4-foot area, and these ends, the power play was used last end for Abernathy McNamara. They did have a good scenario going for most of the end. They did use it pretty effectively, just unable to come through with the last shot, hoping hit for 3 and just over curl a little bit. So I know the scoreboard doesn't indicate it currently, but this could have been easily a 6-3 ball game going into the 4th end here. So just trying to freeze another one in there. They were over curl a little bit, tapped up the red. Just left a good angle still. The trouble rock is still that top 4 blue rock that Abernathy and McNamara are going to have to figure out how to navigate. They could just simply tap this red one up a little bit and block that off. They could freeze into the pocket on there as well. If anybody's familiar with mixed doubles, you're just playing a little cat and mouse game here, just trying to find that inside angle, just to get 1 inch on the inside of all these things. Freezes, a few taps, and maybe you'll set up a little a hit in the last few shots here to score, get your points on the scoreboard. But right now, just trying to get ones in good positions. Draws and taps are your friend if you're Abernathy McNamara at this point. I think Ben's going to come around on the in-turn side. I think he's just looking for a little bit of a tap on his red. Just try to get as much of it as he can. Just tap it in, maybe block off the blue tap. Just trying to tap it a foot just to the top of the button or so. Over curl a little bit. Not bad. Tough to remove those reds. Trevor could hit it on the outside, but it might jam on his own blue, so probably not going to do that. Just probably going to continue to pile, maybe hit and roll, pile one in on top of the red. There is a path for that top 4-foot one to be removed now if you're blue. Little discussion. I think the first call was the hit and roll on the outside red, just to roll on top of the other red. Seems to be a decent call. You could also just simply draw there and do the same thing. Still discussing. I think they're gesturing to maybe for a timeout, but nothing yet. No indication for a timeout yet. Just they're gonna talked about the guard, the hit and roll, the nose tap. I think the freeze. I think they've talked about 6 different shots here. So yeah, I don't know what they've come up with. One of those 6 shots, I think, is the call. I feel fairly confident that it's one of those 6. We'll be able to tell by how much weight she's throwing here. I don't think it's the hit and roll. I can eliminate that one. So it's either the guard, the freeze, or the tap that red one right through to the back 4. But looks to be ice for the freeze, so I think that's what they've settled on. Just keeping it clean for now. I don't think that was the call. It looked like maybe they were keeping it clean, and maybe it jumped on them, maybe picked at the hog line or so, but I definitely don't think that was the call. But they were keeping it clean most of the way, so if it picked, that would be fairly unusual. So open things up, that's for sure. So now it kind of changes things. If you're Abernathy McNamara, this is worth a conversation. Might be able to just tap, tap, get rid of those blues, and you'll be lying 4 red to 1 blue. Just try to stay right on top of it. I think Ben's got the right idea here. Just got to hit this hair on the center line side. Just stay right on top of the blue. You just don't want to line it up onto that back 4-foot one. So you want to maybe hit and roll to the center line just a bit. Big mistake there for Barclay Hansen. Looks to be the end well in hand until that guard was removed. Now there's a chance to lie, like I said, 4 to outnumber the Blue Rock 4 to 1 here in a moment. So just off nose, center line side, probably boardish kind of weight. Big shot here for Ben. Over curled quite a bit. They'd line up those reds. Not horrible, but as you can see, they probably would have been just better off just a little bit of a 1-inch roll on the center line. You would have been still frozen on that blue. But still decision time for Trevor Hansen and Michelle here. You got 1 blue in there. Sometimes the best guard's second shot. So got to be careful where they put this. It might leave a double for perhaps 5. So some serious thought involved in this one for sure. Got to be careful. I think Trevor realizes that they're got to be severely careful on this one. Opening that guard up on the last shot here did kind of simplify things for Ben and Taryn. I don't know if they've just thought about the guard. I think they're playing a tap probably. Once again, you just don't want to leave a double here if you can, and grouping these rocks is the best way to create a double for Ben and Taryn. So yeah, as predicted, definitely a double, half rock double to lie 5, and the 5 would be in fairly good positions too. So if you were to hit half this rock, just stay right there. The back button will be exposed, but the other ones would be a tough double. At this stage, I think the double has to be made. I think they're taking lots of ice here. It's definitely half rock on the center line side. Will do the job for you. Ben's going to come down and have another look. I don't think they're looking at a different call. There's only one call here. The double has to be made. No choice on that matter. Just a matter of where to put the broom, what turn to go, that sort of thing. Looks to be a ton of ice for this shot. I know with peel weight it won't curl a lot, and I think if it doesn't curl there, you're going to be nosing it or hitting on the high side. So you definitely don't want to do that. Off we go. Ben's up to sweep. Not sure what happened to that. They gave up on it fairly early. Ben hopped up to sweep, but missed that by a couple feet. Looked like a lot of ice out of his hand, but maybe he knew something I didn't. That maybe he doesn't quite get out to those ones. But big miss, big chance there. Actually ended up taking out one of his own rocks as well. So kind of compounded the problems there. So big change, big swing here for Trevor and Michelle. Now they're just trying to figure out where to put a third one. A minute ago they were trying to figure out how to not give them a shot for 5. Still, there's still a double for 4, so they got to be careful. They're going to take away that. And if you put a rock in between those blue ones, anywhere on that line, either a guard, top 12, top 4, top 8, anywhere blocking the inside of that little slightly higher rock on the 4-foot, you won't have a double anymore, and it'll be a tough shot for 1 actually. So big trouble here from Abernathy McNamara having a great chance to lie 5. Anywhere close to the center line on this one. Don't really need to fully guard either of those blue rocks. You're just trying to block the double attempt. Great shot. Does the job. Tough shot for 1 here. And now, I think if you could dream up something for a multiple points here, you almost have to do it. 1's not going to do much for you at this stage. Ben seems to think he can maybe hit a thin double on those reds and hopefully kick out the blue one on the 4-foot. I know there's a difference between dreams and reality sometimes, and this might be a dream. I'm thinking that might drag a little bit and maybe miss or at least not hit enough of that blue to get it out. Got to hit this one pretty thin to do any to hit the one on the other side in the top 4, so that one where those red ones are coming back, it's not going to be a lot of power there behind it. So, but I think it's worth an attempt. You have to try something now. One point for Ben and Taryn is not going to do it for you. So looking to hit about an inch of this red rock, I'd say. Broom's right on the center line pretty much. Gonna hit a little too much of this, unfortunately. So because they hit a lot of it, we're able to get rid of one of those blues, that blue that we talked about. But another steal of 1 for Barclay Hansen to take an 8-0 lead after 4 ends of play. We're going to take a brief break for the midway break here, and we're going to have a word from our sponsors, and I'll come back after the break with some updates from the other sheets. Yeah, welcome back, folks. Here we are at the start of the fifth end. Our feature game on sheet one here at the gauge. Draw 6. Abernathy McNamara and Barkley Hansen heading into end 5. Barkley Hansen with a healthy 8-0 lead. Definitely been some chances both sides, though. I know the scoreboard doesn't indicate it, but like I said, there's been a couple chances. I think in the third end, Abernathy McNamara had a chance for 3, and even last end they had a double to lie 5. So definitely scores not indicating the actual game here. So definitely some chances they're able to capitalize on any of those in the future. Could be take a bite out of this 8-0 lead for sure. So good start to this end. Both teams came up a little short on their freeze attempts on the first stones, top 12ish. So something to navigate around for the rest of the end. Trevor and Michelle are going to play the tap on this blue one just to get it in a good position. Could simply just come around top 4 as well. Leave that situation alone at the top 12, but playing a little tap here. Obviously a little tight with the throw there, all over the guard. Was able to tap up the blue just to add another obstacle to come around out front. We've seen that side of that intern side on sheet 1 curling quite a bit, so if you're a little soft on the release, the weight looked good there, so it must have been a little tight, a little maybe more ice next time. But that side does curl quite a bit. Same thing on this one by the looks of it. Both teams just struggling to figure out where to put the broom. I think that's just one of those spots, if you're just a little soft on your release and just not positive, by meaning a little bit inside out with your release, it'll run there pretty nice, but if you get a little soft, it will curl. The ice is kind of doing exactly what you tell it to do, so if you kind of steer it a little bit, it will go. So a couple options. You could play that intern side, which they don't seem to like at the moment. A couple misses there, so talked about the tap briefly, but I think this is the call. Someone's got to make this eventually. The first one that does is probably going to be in good shape for the rest of the end. Just another one that over curled. Not figuring that spot out, that's for sure. So another chance. I still think it's one of those things where the first one in there is going to be in good shape. So if Ben can navigate that hole, Ben and Taryn can navigate. Actually, Taryn's throwing 2, 3, and 4 on this end just to switch things up. But if she can get in there around that top 12-foot blue, it's going to be good shape. Over curled again. Was able to move that blue one out of the way, so not a bad shot. Definitely opens the path up for Trevor and Michelle to draw in there. Still seems like the harder shot in curling right now is that intern draw on sheet going away on sheet 1. So going to try to find a way to navigate that hole, tap that red one out at the back button. Looks to be changing the weight call here a little bit. Looks like to be, I think he tapped the board, so board weight, taking lots of ice, so that kind of indicates how much this one curls. Just going to do some updates for you as promised. Sheet 2, Tracy Peasley, after 5 ends of play, up 10-1 on Grattan Worm. On sheet 3, Adams Robichaud versus Russell Donovan. Adams Robichaud up 3-1. And on sheet 4, Tatlock Lathan versus Team King, who have been just steamrolling the competition lately. Good game on sheet 4. We have Tatlock Lathan up by 1 with hammer in a 6-5 lead, playing 6. Great shot by Michelle there, able to navigate that hole, tap that one back button out. So lying 3 at the moment. That hole is still available for Taryn to come through with the similar shot. She was able to even wreck on the top 12-foot one here. Might be able to bounce it off and do something. So lots of good things can happen with this shot. Great shot through the hole. We had trouble just simply drawing around a center guard here, but now the guys are just making that hole look easy. I guess they just needed to make hard shots. Trevor looks to be playing the same shot. It's kind of the same ice they played with that board weight shot on Michelle. So it looks to be trying the same shot, come through the hole, tap it out. Like I said, they've been making it look easy here for the last minute and a half. So why not? Trevor getting set. Up quickly to take control of the sweeping here on this shot. No mistake once again. 3 shots in a row through a tiny little hole. Both teams really did struggle with a top 4 come around on a center guard, but making this hole look huge. So great shot. Going to have to repeat it again. Let's see if we can go for 4 in a row. Off and on this one. Might be close as well. The double wick and in. Wasn't able to navigate the hole, but did get in there to cut them down. Another steal of 1, unfortunately, for Barclay and Hansen. Was only a shot for 1 anyway, but unable to navigate the hole for the 4th time in a row. So we're going to add another one to the scoreboard, switch ends here, and get things set up. We're going to have a word from our sponsor. So back to action here on sheet 1, setting things up. Abernathy and McNamara already have used their power play, so that's not available to them at this point. So the 6th end, Trevor and Michelle are in full control of this game. Had a couple chances for Abernathy and McNamara in ends 3 and 4, so just looking to kind of build up an end here and make that final shot to kind of put some points on the board. Trevor loves this in turn come around to the top 4 here, so he's been playing this all game. No mistake on this one, just kind of guiding it in. Good spot. It's handshakes on sheet 2. We're going to kick over there real quick. Handshakes on sheet 2 for our 2 gauge teams that were battling head-to-head. Team Peasley versus Tracy versus Grattan Worm. Decisive win for Team Peasley and Brooke Tracy. So the battle of the gauge on sheet 2 goes this time to Team Peasley, Brooke Tracy. I think it was 10-1 last time we checked in on that one, so that game is handshakes after 6. We'll go back to our feature game here, check things out. Good shot here by Abernathy McNamara. There is a lonely blue on top button in good position at this moment, but those red ones are tough to remove. And it seems like anywhere Trevor puts this one might be a chance for a double for Abernathy McNamara to lie 3. So Michelle's looking, I think the call was a little bit of a come around that top 8-foot red one. Got a little wide in the good stuff here. Sometimes you use those inside paths, like the middle of the 8 to the middle of the 8. That path gets used quite a bit, and all of a sudden you go a little wider, and it sometimes is even better. It gets faster. Looks like Michelle got caught being a little bit wide and into the good stuff, we call it, and just kind of slid to the back 8. Kind of a shot that wasn't much consequence to anybody. So a good chance here by Abernathy McNamara. Corner freeze on that blue will give themselves some chances here. Even if you were kind of make a split on the top 8-foot one there as well, you'll be able to get access to that blue both sides. So lots of good options here just by having the right weight. Unfortunately, they wrecked on a guard. Not much going right here at the moment for Abernathy McNamara. Good chance there to kind of just get a freeze in there, split those reds to have access to the blue, but now another chance to play an aggressive shot for Trevor here and guard up the situation. Just seems like one of those games where Abernathy McNamara have had lots of chances, just unable to capitalize on those that 1 or 2 shots in end that kind of would take control back. So a guard here needs to be placed properly in between those 2 guards in the free guard zone here. You're going to plug up the hole. Just does the job, I think. There is still a hole there, but I'm not sure whether they can do much with it. I think probably the best call is still to come around the out-turn side, freeze of that one top button. Need a miss. So you need a miss out of Barkley and Anthony at this point, but you are lying 2nd and 3rd, so there are some chances here. They're going to try to take on drawing through that hole again. Seem to last end, if it's anything like last end, they seem to make that look easy. So unable to navigate the hole. They could have accomplished the same thing with the out turn draw, and it would have been a lot easier than probably trying to get through that hole. But so Trevor and Michelle trying to figure out how to improve the situation. They're a little lining up that blue run back, but I'm not sure that does much. It might give you might give Abernathy and Taryn and Ben a chance to maybe get that blue one off the top button, but that would if you were able to throw a guard and kind of take that away and just get in the way of it, just get in the path of that blue raise, wouldn't be much in the way of anything good for Taryn and Ben at this point. So Michelle with another guard, I believe. Trying to get this a little bit tight, maybe in the hole, but maybe a 3, just short of the rings. Unable to curl enough, and came up a little light as well. Didn't really do anything with that shot. Leaves the hole still if they wanted to use it. I think you probably can get through there now. Taryn and Ben moved the guard on their last shot, so this hole is probably a little better for them now. They're able to access that red, tap it back on the blue. Not sure if they can get more than one here, but definitely not a shot for 5. Over curled again. Another guard. Trevor, I think this is Trevor's shot, so I'm going to be throwing a guard, trying to plug up that hole. That nose tap is definitely available, and if you were able to kind of get to the outside, I don't think it's there, but you might get a more than one if you're Taryn and Ben. But if Trevor was able to guard up this situation, you're looking at some raises possibly on Ben and Taryn's last shot. So let's see if we are able to make this guard this time. Weren't able to find the line on a couple of Michelle's here at all, so maybe some adjustments were being made here for Trevor's shots. Maybe a little less ice. This spot seems to be hard to match up the speed and the line. If you're a little bit heavy, it seems to track, and if you're a little light, that sometimes doesn't have enough time to curl and get to that center line. Trevor looks to be on line here. Doesn't need to curl. Doesn't need to curl. He's trying to get it to rub off that center guard. Plugs up the hole a little bit. I'm not sure that shot's available to them still. We're in a little kind of off to the side on the angle here, so I can't really tell myself, but even if they were to maybe even wick off their own top 8, they might be able to get that. I don't really see any raises. There's a run in on the corner blue rock there, but you hate running in blue rocks when you. It might be just for 2 if you were able to pick off the one top of the button. So I think Ben's trying to come through the hole, tap it onto the top 4 red onto the top button. Can't see it being for more than 2. I think you'd need weight to do any more damage than that. I think they'd be happy just to get on the board at this point. This is definitely there for 1. They spent the last 6 rocks trying to get through holes, so they're due to make one of these. Great shot. Great shot. Finally navigated the hole. Have another look. Did that blue get move enough to get 2? It's still handshakes for Abernathy McNamara. Even if it was 2, it's still a 7-point lead going 2 ends left. So that concludes our feature game on sheet 1. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back for another draw at 6 p.m. And we'll have another one at 9 p.m. We're playing a little catch up. We had a little power outage here at the gauge this morning, so we're playing catch up. We do have a draw going on right now at the Kappa Winter Club, who's allowed us to throw a draw over there to kind of catch up on some time. So we'll be back with you at 6 p.m. and again at 9 for 2 more draws at the 2024 BrokerLink Mixed Doubles Championship. So come on back and join us later. Thanks again, folks.